A very good morning to our honorable guests. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone to this gathering for allocating time in their busy schedules to attend this function. So from the bottom of my heart and all those involved in organizing this ceremony, thank you very much. My name is Mamadee, and I will be your moderator for this event. My only housekeeping rule is, ladies and gentlemen, would you please slide your phone to silent mode, please, so that we can get through this program without interruption? Thank you.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Joseph Boakai, Vice President, Republic of Liberia, Honorable Sam To, Minister of Youth and Sports, sehr geehrter Herr Botschafter Timmermann, Federal Republic of Germany, members of the diplomatic corps, heads of agencies and government officials, representatives of the private sector companies and development partners, members of press, Lord Major and officials of the Township of Schieflline, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, dear students. It is a great pleasure today for me to share with you the vision and mission of the Helog Academy, Liberia. Today is a really good day. A good day for the students, a good day for our school, a good day for Liberia and this region. First, I would like to say something brief myself to illustrate our different pathway to the Helog Academy, Liberia. Even so, I felt quite attached to my hometown in Bad Reichenhall in Germany. I spent a huge part of my life abroad, mainly in Africa. I obviously have a weakness for this continent. After my career as a helicopter captain in the German Armed Forces and 3 years study at the university, I quickly moved back to aviation. I got the opportunity to take over a company deeply involved in offshore operation in Egypt. And the following 40 years, my companies guided me to many countries in Africa. For over 30 years, my helicopters have been operating in Africa on United Nations mission in predominantly conflict areas. I'm proud to say that the sustainable effect of our activities remain unmatched. About 3 years ago, when I was about to retire, but not tired, I started to reduce my business in aviation in order to focus on a new challenge. Many thoughts crossed my mind after all those years which we earned money in Africa to give something back. Something which by all means will have a sustainable effect. What else could be better than education? Let me quickly quote Mrs. Ruth Kagia, former education director of the World Bank. Today's youth generation is the largest in history. Nearly half the global population is under 25 and more than 1 billion are between 15 and 24. By 2015, there will be 3 billion young people and 2.5 billion of them will be living in developing countries. Will this generation present a potential threat to a global stability or a potential resource for development? A lot depends on the action we take to prepare them for the future. These young people need a nurturing environment that inculcates in them the right values and attitudes, equips them with the appropriate and adequate knowledge and skills, and provides them with the opportunity to play their role in the society. Educating means transforming life. Our mission is to work with the best young talents we have, are those who work to educate to transform their own lives. During my first visit to Liberia 4 years ago, I had this vision that someday a new airport will be built at Roberts International Airport. Before that day comes, starting an aircraft or helicopter maintenance training program will be strategic in leveraging other investments in Liberia. I still dream that one day a new airport will be built at Roberts. The project, let me talk about the project. This idea really fascinated me, actually infected me. But how and where should I start? With our wealth of experience of over 30 years in Africa, I was prepared to start a whole new career in growing young African talents to contribute to the development of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, where do we start? Our last operation bases were in Guinea, in Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and Liberia, where we originally wanted to establish an ambulance flight service apart from this technical institute. But we failed due to many reasons. During one of my visits to Liberia on aviation business, I came across Dr. Khalifa Bility, at that time Deputy Minister of Education, responsible for planning, research and development, and he convinced me after several meetings that establishing our Tibet project in Liberia was a good idea. However, what happened next brings in mind challenges many of you have experienced in translating new ideas into reality. Over 2 years we encountered setbacks to get land, duty-free import of our school equipment and so many issues. We understand the many challenges government have to deal with a post-war environment, and this is why we want to express our appreciation to the government of Liberia. Thanks to our Liberian friends and colleagues like Mr. Abrams, Mamadee, Dr. Walter Wiles, and many others we preserved. We live in a world where we depend on each other. We take care of young people today and say we look after their elders. We work across national boundaries and we are all better off. We preserved and stayed dedicated to our mission. We learned important lessons about our common humanity and we need to be patient with one another. As we were about to start, the horrible Ebola crisis finally led to a total collapse of our program. German staff was repatriated in considerable expense. By this time, I was fed up. Why should I invest private money, my family money, which I worked very hard and invested in Liberia? Back home, people meanwhile raised doubt about my sanity. After a 6 months break with frustration again, it was Dr. Bility convinced me to continue. Madam Bility, thank you for donating this land. He provided this land free of charge to the local registered NGO Helog Academy Liberia and helped generously with investments on the construction site. Thank you very much for that. Meanwhile, we had a great commitment to the project. Within the past weeks, I assisted with the manual work. I mobilized my poor technical skills in order to finish this project in time. We ask you to please look beyond this small building that was a shell in October 2015. What you can see here is just the outer settings of the facility. What is important is that we have developed a system process and procedures for advancing Tibet in Liberia that shall be replicated elsewhere in Liberia. We want to partner with the government of Liberia and the private sector to establish similar facilities in Liberia. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that we now have a Liberian homegrown model of the dual system, adapted to the local conditions, to educate a generation of young Liberians that we all will be proud of now and in the future. The system consists of the following: innovative curriculum, practical training programs, provision of teaching material, provisions of adequate tooling, provisions of computers and development of appropriate software, drawings of manuals, drawing of quality regulations and manual, competent and qualified teachers and trainers, organization of the academy to interface with industry, and a lot more. In the back of the building, we are planning new buildings for programs in maintenance engineering and mechatronics. Our first facility in agriculture mechanics will be built in Ganga, Bong Country. We got the land and our partner from Swift Technology is here to display the palm kernel machines. The layout drawings as well as the technical details are really fixed. That we are able to build up quickly, we have already proven. We can establish more buildings within 2 to 3 months. Walls and roofs are easy to erect. The development of the brain of the organization is a critical issue. We need the support of the government to continue these projects. The dual system education, let me explain that in short. What is it? I think I'm not overstating by saying that the Tibet education and the dual system is possibly the best system with vocational training worldwide. In Germany, Austria and Switzerland, this system is highly developed to produce world-class products like Mercedes-Benz. Why not in Liberia? Nobody can convince me that these young people sitting here today cannot learn to assemble and disassemble a Mercedes-Benz. In other European countries, it's being implemented in a modified form as well. To you, my dear learners, we have faith in you, and we know that when you finish, you will be among the most qualified technicians in Liberia. Each of you will have a personal computer. Each of you will have a personal computer from which you can diagnose and learn to fix an engine problem. This is training for the future. The days when you can take out a car part and replace using spinner is gone. In our future mechatronicus, you will use computers to fix cars. Some things we cannot do for you. We expect you to arrive on time. Classes start at 9 a.m. If you come 5 minutes late, you go home. If you do it 3 times, you just stay out. I think we all agreed on these tough procedures. Are we? Okay. Your education is free of charge to you, but nothing is free in the world. You do not have to pay $5 Liberian, but be grateful and appreciate that the Liberian people who sacrifice and are paying for your education. Appreciate the funding provided by the German people. Honor the sacrifice made by your family to get you at your place in time through the leadership of your government. You will never be able to build an engine in Liberia if you do not complete to work on time. The reason is simple. If your workshop, many students will work on a project. Just like the assembly line, you have a fixed time to complete a task. If you miss the time, the whole project will not work. So you must discipline your mind, body and spirit to focus on the task before you. We face that you can do it. Do not let anybody tell you that you cannot do what the Ghanaian, German or the Chinese young people can do. God give us all the equal talent, you just have to develop it. It is that simple. The target is to consolidate the interest of the state, the demand of the economy, and the personal career aspiration of the youth in order to achieve a first-class training program that has the potential to change Liberia in the future. Finally, I would like to appeal to all 3 stakeholders, state, industry, and the youth, not to just support this project, but to support and to bring forward future projects, and especially the vocational Helog dual system in Liberia. With appropriate financing, we are ready to multiply this concept and to set it as a countrywide sign of quality in Liberia within quite a short period of time. Liberia urgently needs investment. Investors need a well-trained workforce. If this is not available, they quickly overthink and revoke the intention and move to places providing better conditions. Liberia should avoid this. And please, always consider, today we decide about the future of the youth. Only a few years later, the youth will decide about the future of the elderly generation. Therefore, it's strongly recommended to invest in the youth. Thank you very much for your attention.
The President has been standing firm on this issue. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, Liberia is at an intersection of a conversion of youth-related challenges. The first is we have a very high youth population. Second is high unemployment. The third here is we're at the time when we're talking about the drug down of oatmeal, which is sending ripples of information, misinformation that is turning into fear among our citizens. And thirdly, the political space has now opened because come 2017, there's elections. And all of these leave young people, unemployed young people, vulnerable to a whole lot. some of them as surrogates for others. But in the wake of all these challenges, Liberia must consider a coherent strategy for human development, which Tvec must play an important part. It is therefore important that we design and implement a strategy to help to build a workforce that allows our citizens, especially young people, to benefit from the development that's happening around them. But Tvec in Liberia is divided into two sectors. We have Tvec in the formal sector and we have Tvec in the non-formal sector. And because of this, Tvec, the management of Tvec rests in the hands of two ministries. The Ministry of Education has been more concerned with the formal sector of Tvec, while the Ministry of Youth and Sports has been more with the non-formal sector. But whatever the situation is, the President, in her wisdom, seeing that with the management of an important sector like Tvec resting in both ministries' hands, she thought that it was important for her to set up a task force that would bring all of them together, because Tvec governance is one of the major factors that will help us to design a proper system. And so in 2014, Madam President formulated the Interministerial Task Force on Vocational Education and Training with a broad mandate to design the much needed reforms in the Tvec sector. That sector, that task force is chaired by the Ministry of Youth and Sports and is supported as co-chaired by the Ministry of Education. Now, since its constitution, the task force has held a series of consultation with a whole lot of different actors. But in the meantime, the task force has managed to actually formulate a policy, and that policy was validated and approved by the cabinet. And that policy is now what we're looking at. But whatever we talk about today, I'd like to come back to the Helog Academy and how it fits in our Tvec system. You see, Tvec, in order to have a vibrant Tvec system, it must have some or maybe all of the following. It must have one, good governance. A governance system that is not scattered, one that is actually coherent, and one that works together to design the appropriate policies. The second is it must have quality curriculum. The curriculum that is designed to respond to the current and emerging career job labor market demands. The third here is, of course, a solid partnership with the private sector. Now that's where this model, the Helog model, comes in. It is a unique partnership with the private sector. You see, what we've been doing in the past has been training our students and sending them out into a community that they were not ready for. Sometimes we train them and we use equipment that they're not familiar with, or they go into the community after they receive our treatment and the training, and they get out there and they meet equipment that they have not seen before. Helog does it the other way around. Helog makes sure that it actually brings in the private sector. In fact, I was made to understand that it is the private sector that's helping to actually sponsor some of the students in this particular academy. Now, what makes this even better is because the assurance of the next step for the young person is higher in this model. But of course, in our country, Tvec has this brand that makes it almost the no-go area for people. It's like Tvec is supposed to be for young people who can't make it in a formal system. Now, I'm saying that in order for any Tvec system to survive, we must change that. We must make Tvec a viable option for all of our young people. Everything we do, every system, for it to work needs funding. And so, in order for us to build our strong Tvec system, we must commit funding. Tvec is not cheap. Tvec is very expensive. And so we're hoping that we can mobilize resources from both internally and externally to bring in support for the Tvec sector. The Helog Academy's unique design is one that we support and advocate from the level of the Ministry of Youth and Sports, and I'm sure Madam President is also very pleased with this type of initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, in order for us to be able to engage our students, whatever designs of Tvec, because there are lots of Tvec institutions, people are thinking about setting up these institutions. If you don't have a system that has a relevant Tvec curriculum to help the young people actually engage with the current and emerging labor market demands, then that system is not worth it. So we're encouraging everyone who's involved with Tvec to be sure to follow the model of Helog here, because Helog stands as a really wonderful model, and I want to thank you, Mr. Wolfgang, for this sort of initiative. Now, all we want to do is we want to also encourage our partners, members of our communities, other Liberians, to try to emulate the example of Helog here. But there's a role here for everyone. In the development of Tvec in our country, there is a role for the community. It is your community that the students are coming from. If you see them lagging, in order for them not to be kicked out, you need to remind them that it's almost 8 o'clock. You need to be at this point now. So the community has a role in that. The government has a role. We need to create that enabling environment for the likes of Mr. Wolfgang and people like him to come and actually invest in such, wonderful initiative. Then the young people themselves have a role to play in this. It is you who must get up. It is you who must come. You must show up. And not just showing up, but you must also participate. Because it's only then that you'll be able to enjoy and reap the benefits of all that you have come here to achieve. I'm very impressed with the equipment that I see. I'm very impressed with some of the instructors. And I have to say, now I didn't say some because I'm not impressed with the rest, but I am impressed with all of them. And I'm impressed with the whole collection and the convergence of interests that brought us to this point. There were lots of struggles along the way. He didn't explain everything, but there were lots of struggles along the way, but that we were able to reach this far. That students can sit in class today is a monumental achievement, and we want to say thank you. Before I take my seat, oftentimes when we see these programs in our country, we forget that it is taxpayers in other countries who actually sit down to also support, the work of their compatriots in our country. Let me, in this manner, on behalf of Madam President and our government, extend to you, Ambassador Timmerman, to the people of Germany through you, our thanks and appreciation for the support that they've given to this initiative in our country. Please give it up for the people of Germany. German-Liberia interest dates far back, but now is not the day for that history. So since we're pressed with time, let me say thank you for this time, and once again, I salute you.
Thank you. Joseph Boakai, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Senator Enyese, Excellency Minister of State Celeste Grigsby, Minister of Youth and Sports, Skoyam Tao, Pierre Wolfgang Sage, and Director of Helog Academy and staff, and of course dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me as German Ambassador to be here this morning on the occasion of the official opening of Helog Academy. It's been mentioned by somebody this morning that this is a lighthouse project. I see it the same way. I think the Academy has the potential to make a significant and lasting contribution to the shortage, to fill the gap in terms of vocational training which exists in Liberia today. The German government, which I represent, is very pleased to co-fund this initiative through the Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development of Germany. Why did we do that? As you know, the German model of vocational training is based on a dual education system which combines apprenticeship in a company and vocational education in the classroom. This is basically at the very heart of the German economic system. And in Germany, young people can choose from over 350 different apprenticeships to acquire practical skills and theory in one course. Without this type of German vocational training, which also exists in the neighboring countries, the German post-war economic miracle would have been impossible. So I'm convinced that this system, of course, adapted to Liberia and the Liberian needs, has a future and has a potential here in Liberia. Liberia today, more than ever, needs skilled and trained young people, not just academics, but also the professions. And actually, German vocational training is not new in Liberia, as the minister mentioned. It was done extensively by the German bong mine in the pre-war period for about 30 years. And they even today, there are many older Liberians who are still benefiting from the dual training which they got in Bong. So I can only encourage all Liberians, all students, of course, in the first line, to make use of the great potential offered by the Helog Academy. And then I would also like to encourage the government of Liberia to assist and to further Mr. Tsago to make this academy a success.
And there we go, we have a commitment from the
I think
German
it is
government
really
to continue supporting
very
the
important what he's doing
So,
here,
would you join me
and I think his contribution, the contribution of course of all the staff working here, but under his supervision can really improve the situation in Liberia. Mr. Tsago is a very tenacious man, and I have personally witnessed the many problems and setbacks he had since he started the project in 2014. Despite all that, he has held on to his vision, and I think he can really be proud of what has been achieved today. Congratulations, Mr. Tsago. I can assure you that the German government will do its best to assist you, to assist Liberia in making this model work, and thereby developing skills and education to advance the lives of all Liberians. Thank you.
Proud students of Helog, we just want to call our CEO, Mr. William Zaga, to present this little certificate of honor to him. Mr. Zaga, we the proud students of Helog say, bravo. And this certificate reads us, Helog Academy, Liberia, Robertsfield Highway, Schieflline Town, Margibi County, Liberia. Certificate of honor present to Mr. William Zaga. We the students of Helog Academy present you this certificate of honor for your invaluable services to the youth of Liberia, for transforming them to accomplish their dreams through this medium of education. We want to say, Mr. Zaga, bravo. God bless you and grant you long life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I can assure you, we will support you. And I think we are a good team already. In these few weeks, we grow and we are a good team. Thank you very much.
Recognize our senator from River G, coming with sir, the ambassador, Timmerman, our mission and vision personnel here, Wolfgang Zaga, Mrs. Bellity, Mr. Bellity, the National Election Chairman, our friend from the Turkish school who are also here, members of NANGO, members of the press, Liberians, the students, and the leadership of the students. I want to thank you all for coming. For me, this is a very important day. I know we talk about a number of these things every day, but to see them happen is another thing. It is my pleasure and honor today to grace this great occasion at the launching of this place that will be building the capacity of our young people. Let me congratulate especially those thoughtful people who are giving this day a birth. I want to thank the German government for this encouragement. When I saw that this will bring German discipline, I was very pleased because I know that one of the things that made Germany great is their technical knowledge. And listening and reading show that most of what technology that is out there in the field comes from the students. What they study is what the industry manufacture. I'm also proud of the notable achievement of yours in establishing this Helog Academy for Liberia. Thanks for this job. The need to give the youth marketable skills and aptitude for the job market has continued to occupy a top position in our government's agenda, and especially the agenda for transformation. Nearly a year ago today, on the 26th May 2015, I was honored to officially launch the country's first comprehensive national policy on technical vocational education and training at the Ministry of Education in Monrovia. A little more than a year before that launch, I had addressed the validation workshop on Tvec policy in Pinsville, which we took the dire need for national policy that addresses skill deficit in our country. Many times I hear people say, I'm unemployed, but you are actually unemployed if you have a marketable skill. You're prepared to work, ready to work, available for the market, because you have something that you sell. I'd like to emphasize the enthusiasm of the young man that spoke, their determination to make use of the time here. And I also listen keenly to the discipline that goes along with this, because sometimes we believe that everything we need or want should come to us. The education of this type goes with discipline. You have to be here on time. You have to be ready. And I want to congratulate you for making sure that the discipline goes along with it, because you can learn and still be unemployed if you are not disciplined. When you talk about vocational training, You can be a good plumber, but you have access to people's houses. If you don't go on time, you will remain unemployed. If you go on time and while working in the house, you look at other things and you play with them, you can become unemployed. Because this is part of the discipline. And we hope that those who learn also give their time. I want to particularly say that the Ministry of Agriculture take advantage of this, because even as we talk about mechanized agriculture, you need people who can repair those tractors, people who can repair those rice mills. We know in Liberia that we are importer of used equipment. And used equipment, squarely describe what they are. I saw a commercial talk about a used car, and they kicked the car and the doors fell, and the battery, the water tank fell, and someone tell me which part of this car is unused. Every part is used. Once you bring it, you have to maintain it. You have to be able to repair it. So the role you're going to play here is very critical to the upkeep of the equipment we bring to this country. The German government deserves all the commendation for the worthy undertaking, which no doubt will positively impact the quality of our youth who pass through with skill. I say many times that when schools were reopened, the university, when schools were closed, the university doctors, all the people with masters, didn't have job to do. But the mechanics were making money, the plumbers were making money, the electricians were making money, because they have skills that are needed. Just enter a building and look at the building. You talk about civilization. What is it? It's technology. The people who put up the building, those people who did the plumbing, those who did the electrical work, they are the ones that provide those skills that make civilization work. So don't think that you only have to get a PhD or a master's degree to be able to be serviceable to your country. These are the skills that you need to make this country work. We want to begin to consider all of these vocational training to relate to the job market. And I'm happy to hear that the selection of the young people will be linked to the need of this market. A production entity started with a team of well-competent industrial mechanics supported by maintenance engineers can surely perform wonders. Let me hence reinforce our appreciation of this establishment and convey to you firm assurances of this government, which have already laid emphasis on vocational training, that we are in full support, and particularly my office will always be ready for any difficulties that you run into that we can help. And I'm not saying that like people meet you in the street and say, if you need me, see me. I mean it seriously. Sometimes those people, you'll never see them. But I think we should be there to remove obstacles, because we want to see our young people learn. We want to see them gain employment. We want to see them work with dignity, that you can go somewhere and solve a problem. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you. the founder of this institution, and all of those Liberians who have helped. Thank you, Mamaka, for the land. And I have no doubt that this place will expand. And we will all be partners to make sure that it does expand and provide a quality education for our children. Thank you, and God bless.
Would you please, the leaflets are out there, so if you want to know what the program is about, the details of the program, and where we headed next, there's an information desk across press for every couple years.